Hey, good morning.
How you doing, man?
Good.
Can I start out with a bit of a somber news from the sports world?
Yep.
Bob Uecker has passed away. Bob Uecker
must be in the front row.
Yeah. Well, you said it right there. Bob Uecker, who was a Milwaukee Brewers broadcaster for 50 years, passes away at the age of 90, which is sad for everybody who's a sports fan, everybody who's a baseball fan, everybody who's just a fan of classic movies. And what you're quoting is from his appearance in Major League, which I think most people, I mean, the Brewers fans have known him for 50 years, but most people know him beyond that from those appearances in the Major League movies. It was You Must Be in the Front Row, and of course the other one was Just a Bit Outside.
Oh yeah, didn't he do like a beer commercial?
Miller
a lot
Lite.
of them, right?
He did a lot of the Miller Lite
commercials. He sat up at the top, and right?
He was also, wasn't he he was a regular. He was a star of Mr. Belvedere.
Oh wow,
that sitcom which ran for can you believe Mr. Belvedere was on TV for like 8 years?
Wow.
Or something? Who watched? One person watched Mr. Belvedere. Anyway, he was an actor too. Bob Uecker, very sad, passes away at the age of 90. Was the play-by-play voice of the Brewers dating back to 1971.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then when did he retire? Was he still actively coming on air once in a while?
That is a great question.
Even last year, did he pop up on a baseball thing?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
I do not
90.
know the answer to that.
Yeah. No.
But yeah.
Also,
did home games, I'm told. Did home games only. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Vin Scully did that towards the end as well.
Sure, the home games.
Yeah.
And also, we want to have a shout out to my friend's family. Cookie Jar died, who was on Action with me, the lounge singer.
Oh.
Yeah, who I mentioned on this show multiple times. His wife reached out to me a couple nights ago when he was 83. Cookie Jar. He was the last of the Vegas. They called him like the Vegas Lounge Lizards. I mean, he had a great voice. He had that like dark tan skin and long hair, and he just had a good voice. And he also was funny. He was very funny, and he was a sports bettor. So. Cookie Jar, I had so many nights. I have so many videos on my phone and pictures on my phone with him being out. He had me backstage at Tom Jones, the Medley, Bill Medley, with Righteous Brothers, friend of Pete Rose. When Pete Rose died, he texted me immediately. Good friends with Pete. Matter of fact, I talked to Pete about him. So it was interesting how...
Does Mr. Cookie Jar have a real name that we can pay tribute
Anthony
to?
Patine.
Anthony Patine.
He's from South Philly, from Philadelphia. And he was an Atlantic City guy, Las Vegas guy. He came here in like 69. Matter of fact, there was a guy on Twitter that reached out to Pete Karma, I believe his name was. He used to be in the business years ago. He said he's seen him back then. And I was like, wow, I didn't know he was in Vegas in 69. He was like Elvis. The first time he was in Vegas, they didn't like him. But then he came back, and he was a legend of all different lounges all around town. And I loved Cookie. And like I said, a lot of people reached out, and a lot of volume on the tweets about that.
It was Cook E. Jar.
Cook,
middle initial
C-O-O-K.
Middle initial E.
Yeah, and he used to have a jar up on the stage. Feed the jar, baby.
Yeah.
That's what he used to say.
He passed away at the age of 83.
Yeah.
And that's right. In the Showtime docuseries Action, one of the scenes with you is you enjoying Cookie Jar doing his thing.
Yeah, with my wife and his wife.
Yes.
And his wife reached out to me, like I said.
I'm sorry for your
Yeah,
loss.
I'll tell you what, it got to me a lot. In the last couple of days, I have 100 videos on my phone, little clips of him talking about sports betting. So he loved sport. He loved betting sports. In the middle of the show, he'd be singing an Elvis song and say, "Krackomberger, what's the score of that game?" Right in the middle of the show. I mean, multiple times.
In the middle of
Right in the middle of yeah. Tony Orlando's done that to me. Right in the middle of the show, like shout out on the stage, "Krackomberger." But
as the audience looks at you like, who's this guy?
What is that? Yeah. But you know what's funny? Let me tell you about Cookie Jar. So at the Continental, which he used to play, which is now called, I think it's Silver Sevens now. It's on Paradise there.
Used to be Terribles. Now
used to be Terribles.
Sevens, yeah.
Yep. Which way? Mr. Krackomberger was thrown out. I walked to the door at Terribles in 86th. They told me I was teaching card counting lessons, which wasn't true at all. I love to say I was. It just goes to show you some of these geniuses that they think something. But anyway, so Cookie told a story to me. He said, I went up to that counter at Terribles. It was at the Continental, and I was betting a 16 parlay for $100. They came back and said, "No, Cook, we can't take that. We'll take 50."
on a 16 parlay.
He's like, oh, good. Well, you guys, and they saved me $50. I mean, but
That's right.
It just made me think. This is a guy who also showed me a ticket once with like 10 teams, 10-team parlay that paid 2-1. I was like, that's impossible. I mean, every team was minus 40-1, minus 40. Yeah, like this is a guy. Now I think about that now, how that's relatable now with some of the newer sports books that have come to the country the last 7-8 years. They literally alienate their popular customers that are Joe Publics. They alienate them by not taking those type of bets. Now, I understand if you don't have the bankroll to back, well, not the 10-teamer that pay 2-1, but if you don't have the bankroll to back these big underdog things, but these are billion-dollar companies, and they'll actually alienate them, and like we said a couple weeks ago, they'll send them back offshore. How can you not take a 6-teamer, just betting off the board? It's not like you're betting the parlay cards where the lines are bad, which I've done very well years ago. Steve Fezzik also.
That's his thing.
Years ago, it was really good. I mean, now, I don't even know who has them now. I don't know. That's how much.
I was going to say
Does William Hill have them?
Last year, William Hill had them, and then they were kind of done after like week 7 or something.
And and anyone that's listening or watching, they know. Back when we were kids, that was a giant moneymaker in the neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. Everyone had the football parlay cards with the little edge. You can take off the little thing, you hand it back to the bookmaker. They used to have runners go around the city, at least in the Bronx and stuff. They had runners go around the city picking up those little... and what Bill Krackomberger, the wise guy, did, thought I was real cute. I'm 15 years old, and I used to get one of them from a local guy, and I made copies of that one because I said, why are these kids in school? They're all giving their $2 and $3. I made copies of that card. I may have talked about it on the show already, but I made copies of that one, and they all had serial numbers on them. And so now I have the same serial number on 100 tickets, and I'm giving them out throughout the school. And, of course, you would think, oh, he's going to get in trouble in the school. No. I got in trouble from the bookmaker, and boy, I almost got in a lot of trouble. I didn't realize how far down. I thought it was just a local guy in the town with a vowel at the end of his name, and I thought it was just him. No, it went much deeper than him. I almost got myself in a lot of trouble at 15 years old trying to pass around the thing and take away the business. But
did you refer to yourself in the third person as Bill Krackomberger when you were 15 to him? You're like, well, Bill Krackomberger didn't mean any harm by it.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But I almost got in a lot of trouble, though, physical.
By the way, back to Cookie Jar for a second. You know what I think about so Cookie Jar, 83 years old, Vegas legend. And it's an awkward thing to talk about because the people I'm referring to are still alive. So if they're listening, they're like, what do you think? I'm going to die next week, Gill? That kind of thing. But I do think about, and I've said this before, not only Vegas as a whole, but in our corner of the world in sports betting, that the true legends of this, it's only, right? Like we should appreciate the moment in time that we're in because once they go away, it's just that first generation is gone.
It's over.
Yeah.
And the characters are all dying off. They're really dying off. So I got to give credits to Johnny Katz, our local newspaper guy. He reached out to me, and I put him in touch with Cookie's wife. He wrote a great article in the Las Vegas Review-Journal yesterday. And Vital Vegas wrote a great article on casino.org, I believe it is, just with some tributes to him. And the comments... You're reading the comments. You could tell how old people are by reading the comments and the tributes to him and the wordings they used. It was really touching, and that was my buddy. I mean, I had a lot of good times with Cookie, and even after the show, I remember we went to dinner at Piero's a few times.
Oh yeah,
had some good times.
By the way, you bring up Vital Vegas. If you're ever at the Circa and you go to 8 East, over here, and you get the brisket fried rice.
Oh, okay.
Get it. Vital Vegas style.
Oh, okay.
You'll thank me later.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Throws chicken in there.
Oh, okay.
Brisket fried rice.
Awesome.
Bill Krackomberger, Unscripted, coming back right here on the Numbers Game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. D-Gen Southern Gent. Gill, I know you can't hear his post-match interview, but figured you'd be interested to know that Lerner just revealed why he looked so listless and disinterested in the fourth set against Medvedev. He had to urinate. There you go.
I didn't know that was a live match out there. That Medvedev was live. So where are they playing right now at 7 in the morning?
Melbourne, Australia.
Okay. Because I seen that on the big screen, and you and Kelley weren't on. I was like, wow, this must be live.
By the way, I have a running debate. You remember Ron Flatter, who used to be on the show? Ron Flatter, who's like, you remember WKRP in Cincinnati?
Yes.
He's just like Les Nessman. Les Nessman reporting live from Cincinnati. So Ron is like that. He's a very serious journalist guy. And we used to call him our adult supervision here at VSiN.
Right.
He spent time in Australia, right? He's an American guy, but he spent time in Australia. So when he says Melbourne, he uses the Australian pronunciation. He says, "Hey, Gill, are they playing in Melbourne yet?" I'm like, "Ron, you're American. Why are you saying Melbourne?" He insisted that's the correct pronunciation. I go, "No, that's just their accent.
Gotcha.
Why are you saying it?"
Is he still here?
No, Ron is in Louisville, Kentucky, working for Horse Racing Nation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is from Mr. B. He said, "Thanks for the call out. Went to high school with Max Fried's dad. Whole family are A-plus people. I think Max is live at 25-1 for Cy Young. Coming to Vegas for the bowl and hope to see 20-1 or higher. And I'll get down. Tell management a VSiN Super Bowl party in Vegas would be epic." Max Fried would be on the leaflet forever, by the way, as well. 3 Jack H3131. Gill, do we need to start a GoFundMe so you don't have to hold a mic during the Megapod? Remember the time Kelley wanted all football games played indoors? What the hell was that about? Nice win by Emma last night. Her reward, Iga. Have a great day, guys. Wow, 3 Jack was all over the place in that tweet. All good. By the way, I've been rocking the mic on the Megapod since its inception. Jason Stark. Hey, Bill, Uecker was doing Brewers games last season. As we said, he was doing home games. I would listen to him on Sirius XM when there was a Brewers Day game. One of the greats.
Wow.
And Chris,
at that age.
Chris Heath, I definitely ran parlay cards all over Oakland. Met some of the most interesting and kindest people over the years. How about that? Shout out to gamblers.
Wow.
And the numbers guys really wanted to see Cookie, your guy Cookie Jar. Can you ask Crack, is there anyone else to see lounge related? I always go see Big Elvis at Harrah's when in town.
I guess there's some, nothing's going to be like Cookie, though. There's a dueling pianos, I believe, still in town. But, the 2 piano players back and forth and like that Big Elvis thing. But nothing's going to be like the Jar. The Jar was
like the Jar. I like that you could refer to him as the Jar. You know who has a lounge act from time to time here?
Who's that?
VSiN original host, Al Bernstein.
Oh, wow. VSiN
original host and boxing Hall of Fame announcer, Al Bernstein, at the Tuscany, off the strip, every once in a while sings.
Yeah.
I've got to go.
I seen Al around town sometimes, but
sweet man.
Yeah, nice guy, boxing historian.
Al comes on this show when there's a boxing match of note to talk about.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, I would love to see that. I would love to hang out and see Al Bernstein. Because, that's another type of thing where you're like,
sure.
Here's a boxing Hall of Fame announcer, and he's got a lounge act.
That's cool.
It's fantastic.
You're right. I think I seen the sign over at was it the Tuscany?
Tuscany.
That's what I seen. Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Gill.
Yes, sir.
We got 260,000 views on 2 tweets for you and I. We really get a lot of tipping action.
The tipping was the big one?
194,000. And the people love talking about.
You know what I was surprised by?
What's that?
I shouldn't be surprised.
Oh.
I felt like more people, I don't know if I won't say took my side because it wasn't side versus side,
right?
But appreciated my side of things.
Oh, definitely.
I didn't think they would. By the way, my position was that I personally tip nicely, but I'm saying that I think that the Vegas culture, that people who are immersed here and who lived here for a long time, they don't understand that not everybody knows that you're supposed to tip on certain things.
Yep.
And they expect it. And when they don't get tipped or they get tipped small, they tend to make character judgments about those people. Yep. And I'm like, it's just a culture thing. People don't know your culture. And so I was very surprised that a lot of people...
Some of the greatest comments ever of all time, people, the way they talk to it. Yeah. I like when you get the... Of course, people are going to joke in there and stuff, but some of those people really were fantastic comments. I got back to a lot of people because there were some really good ones about... when I said to you, Gill, if you win $1 million and you go to the counter and tip 5,000, they're going to talk about it.
100%.
I don't know who it was. I'm sorry. He came in and said, then you can't tip anything. Don't tip. Zero's the number.
Dude, I've said that before on the show.
If you tip 5 or 10,000.
Zero's better than 5.
That's what. So anyway, just some of the greatest. But now that we're talking about tipping.
Oh, God. Here we go.
I just, cocktail waitresses. Now, here's what I want to get into here. A little sensitive subject here.
Uh-oh.
So a cocktail waitress in Atlantic City compared to Las Vegas. Las Vegas, they have... they get paid much more. A cocktail waitress, you start at like $13 an hour. This is in the casino. You start about $13 an hour. I know someone that makes almost $16 an hour. and plus tips. Now that's just your hourly pay.
That's Atlantic City.
No, here.
Oh, here. Okay.
Yeah. Now, sometimes what happens is they totally forget where they came from. The middle of America, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Missouri, whatever, Florida. They just forget where they come from, and they come to these big cities like Las Vegas or L.A. or New York or, Miami, let's say, and you get a job, and now you're making all this money, and you back then where you were working, you were only making $2 or $3 an hour, maybe $100 a night. Well, here you're making $300-$400 a night on a weekend at a good casino, and you just totally forget where you come from. Now, God forbid you say, "Oh, wow, I can get a job in a strip club, being a cocktail waitress." They make a lot of money, a lot of cash in a strip club. So now, how do they become strippers? Well, a lot of the cocktail waitresses say, "Wow, you make $2,000 on Saturday night? I got to do that. Can you show me how to do it?" Now you make $2,000 a night. This is a girl that was making $100 a night a year ago. Mm-hmm. And they don't treat the men like men anymore in life. They treat them like a piece of meat. You're really. By the way,
now how would you know this, Bill?
This comes from. I'm just gonna say. Really, I want to tell you.
So you hear.
This comes from someone I know.
Okay.
She's 40.
Okay.
4 now.
Okay.
She's 44. And she's so right. And I've been now she's a real estate. Wait, what else would they be? If you don't latch onto a man, you're a real estate agent. So, but anyway,
I don't know if that's the data supports that.
Okay.
Maybe.
So, but really, if you have to avoid the pitfalls now of being a dancer. Everyone's saying, "Come meet me after work. Come meet me," and drugs, alcohol, a lot of problems you can have. And
are you suggesting drugs and alcohol are in a strip club? Is that what you're saying?
And if you're not sharp enough to hold on to your money or grab a guy in your late 30s, you're basically a warhorse in this line of work. And not trying to say I'm not making fun. I'm just saying. So I'm here to give these girls advice.
All right, what is that advice?
That grab onto a guy that's in the club with a lot of money and
that's your
get
advice.
Out. Make the money while you can.
You can?
Yeah. So just about tipping and just thought about the money they make.
Pro tip.
No, the things we can think of in our. I just, like I said, there's a girl. She's a real estate agent and beautiful girl, nice girl. My wife and I both know her. And she's she's like 44. Yeah, she just told me the story about a couple weeks ago.
When you were younger, did you frequent strip clubs? Was it a thing you did?
10 packs of sanitizer with me. Are you nuts? I would.
That's why I ask.
Yeah,
that's why I ask.
No, I'm not. Now I have friends that come in and they want to go to strip clubs.
I was going to say, do you think the economics of strip clubs took any kind of hit whatsoever with COVID? Probably
Definitely.
Not. You think,
I would think
momentarily, but don't you think it probably came back for people?
I don't know, man.
Dudes are dudes
really?
after all.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess you're right about that. And I have been to them. I have been to them here in Vegas with my buddies, but it's a tough thing for me with I'm always thinking to myself that I don't want to be around no one sick. I told you last week, a guy came to dinner with a cold. I was like, well, here's $60. Get out of here. You want a free meal that bad? I mean, so no, I'm not going to have a girl dance on me that's danced on 25 other guys throughout the night. And God only knows what went on in the back room. And you got to touch me now?
Oh, God.
It
does. Well, when you put it that way. No, yeah. I'm actually like you. I was I never understood. I'm way too much in my head about stuff like this. I never understood the concept. I'm like, so let me get this straight. I will be separated from my money, and nothing really happens at all. It's just this kind of. This is stupid.
Big money here in Vegas too.
This is stupid.
So they demand big money. So
we got old, Billy.
All subjects we could
got
talk
old. Unscripted with the Crackman, as you can tell. Coming back on the other side, it's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Bert Wiedemeyer, so true about these parlays and football tickets. Super agents in the States put the clamps on those 6 to 17 parlays, which I never understood. Also, why you were able to get the football tickets in with a lot of picks was because the fine print on those said ties lose, and they voided games. Mike Webb, as you were reminiscing about Cook E. Jar, wondered if you had the pleasure of seeing the San Francisco institution Buddy Love back in your Bay Area days. True legend. I never did, but I am familiar with the legend of Buddy Love. Rich PSM, Leonard Tien is unbelievable. Tremendous finish. Check it out later, Gill. Tremendous poise, mixing in drop shots. Medvedev gave him everything in the tiebreaker, but he dug a way too big of a hole early. Ryan Hyatt, sometimes you tell the day by the bottle that you drink. I just check and see if Bill Krackomberger is on with Gill and Kelley, and then I know it's Thursday and can now begin the weekend. Always enjoying the wisdom dispensed. Can't believe they don't charge for this.
My man.
Jesse Welch. Since we're talking baseball, I'll throw out there that I took a fella who goes by Big Christmas for most homers and MVP at 150 to 1 and 100 to 1 respectively. Did it in honor of Gilly's first Christmas tree. Well, thank you for that, Jesse Welch. Jason H11. New York has a dueling piano bar.
Oh, that's it. All right.
Wise Guy Wager sending us Bob Uecker's induction speech into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Thank you for that.
Ooh.
And 3JackH3131 says, wait, are we doing the Vegas lifestyle spot today? Drugs, alcohol, sex, dancers? You mean Vegas has all that too? Lawrence Anderson, epic crack, awesome. Las Vegas 514, yo. God forbid you even think about touching one of the dancers would be thrown out on your keister. Sheesh. Frank Albright. Gill, it's getting close to spring training. When do we get our season-long total win bets? Easy winner with the Padres last year. Usually wait till after football season to do that, just because I want to get everybody into a baseball frame of mind. Because if I do it now, it kind of gets lost. And then if I remind people, hey, I did it in March, and then I did it in February, and then it moves, people get upset. So I'm just going to wait till March to do it. Mark Geiger, in-house attorney of a numbers game. Love the clip joint talk. Never understood it either. Coming of age in the 60s, the physical stuff was easy to find for free, but the aftermath could be heavy demands for commitment. So what's the better deal? Jeff Staples, can't wait to get to happy hour today and look for the girls in the Century 21 Blazers. Thanks for the info, Crack. Yeah, I was checking. Real estate agents took a stray in the previous segment.
I'm not trying to nothing bad about it. Listen, I'll tell you one thing. Real estate agents here are so jammed now on because of the catastrophes out in California. It's amazing the demand
that's
of people wanting to rent $1 million homes here.
Yeah,
they want to do a lot of them requests for that, even buying them. But the rental ones, I'm told, are have taken a big hit here. Like there's no market. What's the word I'm looking for? There's no real estate available here renting at that number. So you're looking for like a $2 million house to rent for $10,000 a month. The's really not that market here.
The supply does not meet the demand.
I need to put it into proper words. I'm such a straight guy.
What was I going to say? The migration from California to Vegas was already a thing before the wildfires and the tragedy that went off, that manifested there in Southern California, where again people lost their homes, just burned to the ground. People who lived in their homes for 4 or 5 decades, one night gone. It's
terrible.
Heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking.
Just think about that. Whoever people listening and watching, imagine you wake up tomorrow, you have to leave your house and leave everything in it, and you come back and there's nothing left,
and it's gone.
It's just
you cannot wrap. It's incredible.
And then some of the people didn't have insurance, right? So now their whole life. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's thinking about like that. Like being house poor and all the money in your house. You have $1 million, $5 million house, whatever it may be, and now they canceled your insurances.
And imagine the human element of that. I know we talk about it and we move on to another subject. But imagine if you're one of those people, right? So you still have each other.
Yeah.
Most of whatever you were able to hold in your hands, let's say if you were lucky enough to take out something that you were able to carry, you have. But everything else, everything that all your lifelong possessions or lifelong mementos that meant so much to you, from your parents, from your grandparents, whatever it is, from your children, they're all gone. And so you have to sort of, the way, and it's not only a defense mechanism, it's the truth. You have to latch on to the fact that you're still healthy, your loved ones are still healthy, and that those things ultimately are just possessions, just in quotes, no matter how meaningful they are to you. And that's where your brain has to go. You have to just sort of linger on the good thing that, okay, well, we still have our health. And that's the only thing you can go with, because the rest of it is so sad, right? And so you feel for all those folks, and this is one of these things again where the embers, and it was so quickly, like the wind was so strong that football fields would be traveled with these embers in a matter of moments, and so these fires were you couldn't contain them, man. It's awful. Yeah. It's awful.
Yeah, no, it's there's bigger things than just sports betting. Here we're running around trying to beat the sports by half point here and there.
Yeah.
And you think about these kind of catastrophes that are happening to people, and it just puts you in check.
Speaking of that, do you have any bets for divisional round?
This is
as we segue inartfully.
Yeah, it gets so hard now, right? I mean, look at the Houston-Kansas City game. You would think instantly, wow, this Kansas City, they're all healthy now. They're going to be in there. But yet the other side of it is people saying, well, some of these guys haven't played in 3 weeks. They haven't touched the ball. Of course, they're touching the ball. They're practicing a little bit.
Haven't played a meaningful game in 24 days.
And they're going to come out rusty, and maybe Houston's a good bet in the first half. Where meanwhile, someone like myself, I seen, let me look now. I can look. I seen back east, the best money lines in the world. For some reason, Kansas City was minus 385 yesterday at DraftKings. And I even said to my buddy, I said, listen, that's a pure scalp here in Vegas. You could take 4-1 at multiple sportsbooks. Westgate, Wynn, Stations. Not Stations. If you bet there, you get thrown out.
Pure scalp minus 385 on the favorite, 4-1 on the dog.
Yeah, and still now I look, DraftKings minus 425, Kansas City. They have the best money line. So I have no problem, by the way. Detroit was minus 410 money line, which also was a break-even scalp. So now the best two money lines in the world, Kansas City, Detroit, and I actually said, yes, you could bet those two in a money line parlay because of its price. The reason why is because of the pricing. I don't like betting favorites in money lines. As a matter of fact, right in back of us, Circa they have that big, it's a bonus for people to do the parlay of the week. They're calling it Lions, Chiefs, Ohio State, all win any matchup. Okay, so the Lions, the Chiefs, Ohio State money line. Mm-hmm. So the yes was minus 130. The no, the no plus 110. Actually, the no is the right bet to make. Mm-hmm. Even at even money, the no is the better value. You can price these together. Like I said yesterday at DraftKings, it was less than 2-1 on that parlay. I'm sorry, it was that one was 2-1 just for those two, Kansas City, Detroit. So this particular one that they have here. The no is, but people can't bet the no. They can't bring themselves. They say, "Well,
physically bring themselves
the Lions,
to bet it.
Chiefs, Ohio State, they're all going to win.
What could go wrong?
Well, they're all going to win. Why would you bet the no?
Because we've never seen an upset
the
in
no
our lives.
Is the value here on this particular bet, and they're even so they were calling it a parlay boost, and people were saying, "Well, how's that a boost? I can lay less than." You're looking at it, it's just a one way. The other side is actually, and your guys here. This is. Here. What's the names there?
Oh, I had trouble with her. Norma Gamedov.
Okay. Yeah. Norman. Okay. And
Norman.
There's another one there with Matt. What's the first one there? Are these
Mahachev?
Mahachev. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. And so those two, and the Lions, Chiefs all win. The no is minus 185. That's their two. Their two. So we give them a little press here too. But I just wanted to say about. I know it looks easy. Lions, Chiefs, Ohio State, of course.
Because we've never seen an upset in UFC either, right?
But there are times where you can bet these money line very rare. Super Bowl time here happens too a lot. A favorite last year it didn't because it was a closer line, but lots of times you can bet those money lines here in Vegas on the favorite, believe it or not.
By the way, Will, I don't want to gloss over the scalping part of it. Yeah. How we talk about it because it's betting theory and it's math. But how often do you, Bill Krackomberger, actually do that?
Scalp?
Yes.
Or middle? You really can't.
Almost never, right?
What you want to do is really, that's how I built up my bankroll in the 90s, though. Scalping and middling, even the early 2000s, because
it's such a smart way to build it.
I didn't have the bankroll that I have now to bet with. So back then it was, you'd bet, but I realized you should leave a little bit more on the bad, quote-unquote, bad line. So I'll consider Kansas City the bad line, minus 385. I would leave more on the minus 385, come back on the dog and take 4-1, but leave the free roll on Kansas City, not on Houston. I would bet more on the Kansas City. And so that is something I don't do because you can't get down that much either. You're talking about, but it does happen time to time. When we come back from the break, I want to talk to you about something Steve Fezzik and I were just talking about right before I came in.
Okay.
All right. It involves kind of like this a little bit.
Okay, I like it. That's what they call a tease in the business.
Yes.
Bill. Well done.
All right.
Broadcaster Bill Krackomberger coming back with a story about him and Fez. That's next. Numbers game. VSiN. We got our G-Bank best bets of the day, courtesy of G-Bank, the official bank of VSiN. This show, every show on the network, recapping our picks. I am on 2 Australian Open picks last night. Had our first losing night at the Australian Open last night. Going to have one on the ladies' side, one on the men's side. Laura Siegemund, that's Laura Siegemund, plus 144, taking on Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. Siegemund is the play on the ladies' side. And then an over 40 games on the men's side, Artur Fils against Ugo Humbert. or spelled Fils, F-I-L-S, and Humbert for those needing a phonetic pronunciation, so you can find it on your sports betting account. Also in football, once again, I'm on the Rams +6 against the Eagles pre-flop and the Ravens laying a point against the Bills. I didn't get the best of it, but I still love the Ravens against the Bills on Sunday in the marquee matchup divisional round. Kelley Bydlon, does he have any plays today? Courtesy of G-Bank, does he? No, maybe. Oh, no, he does not. Zach Cohen does, though. He's got a couple tennis plays. He's on Tomas Mahach. Over 16.5 games won against Novak Djokovic. Mahach, over 16.5 games won against Joker. He's also on Jacob Fearnley, +2.5 sets versus Sasha Zverev. So he thinks, Zach does, that Fearnley gets on the board with at least one set against Zverev. He's also got 2 NBA plays, Kings -3.5, and it wouldn't be a Zach Cohen segment without him backing a really bad team, as has been the case lately. He's on the Wizards +11.5 tonight. And then Sunday, he's on the Bills. We're Oppo. He's on the Bills money line +105 against the Ravens. Jordan Sherwood. By the way, we gave out 4 of these 5, but then we ran out of time with Jordan and his UFC 311 bets. He is on Islam Makhachev, inside the distance, +150. That's in the main event. Islam Makhachev, inside the distance, +150. Then he is on the dog. He set a half unit on this. Merab Dvalishvili, +230 against Umar Nurmagomedov. And then he is on in the match right before the co-main. Dvalishvili's the co-main. He's on Jamal Hill and Hill by KO at +186. He's also on Renato Moicano in the fight before that. Moicano is a bit of a favorite. They're -160. That is the bout right before the bout that takes place before the co-main and the main. So these are the 4 latest fights of the night, if you will, at UFC 311 from Jordan. Our best bets, as always, sponsored by G-Bank, the official bank of VSiN. If you're serious about sports betting, you need the G-Bank Visa Signature Card. Most credit cards treat sportsbook and gaming transactions as cash advances. Even when you put your own money on the card, G-Bank treats gaming transactions as purchases, so you're typically saving up to 3 to 5% on cash advance fees right there. Right now, for a limited time, you'll receive a $250 bonus after you spend $1,000 in the first 90 days. Apply now at vsin.com/Gbank. That's VSIN.com/Gbank. Subject to credit approval, terms and conditions apply. Real quick, we get tweets at Beating the Book. Joe C714. I was staying at the Horseshoe a couple weeks back at the blackjack tables. There was a drink girl, he calls her, that was so rude to me, all while the pit boss was witnessing the whole thing. She apologized for her and told me they're unionized. I didn't know that.
Jesus.
Limited everywhere. I love your show. Strippers to real estate agents. What a moment. Thank you. Never prouder. Limited everywhere.
Never prouder.
Matt Grissom, catching a numbers game 30 minutes behind, stupid airplane Wi-Fi. But yes, and thanks for listening to us on the airplane. He says, but yes, tipping in Las Vegas, totally different. I brought a buddy a few months ago, and he thought it was absurd that I basically tipped everyone I came in contact with. Most truly don't know. That's my point, Matt. And then Jeffrey R., this is sort of heartbreaking also. He wrote, talking about the wildfires in L.A., he said, the summer before my freshman year, we lost everything in a F5 tornado in northeast Ohio. My sister and I constantly wonder how our parents kept everything together. He actually provided pictures. That's awful. Sorry about that, Jeffrey. Joseph Frieda, nice mentioning Flatter today. Miss his Australian football picks. He wrote up during COVID. Still a great listen for horses. Yes, he is at Horse Racing Nation, our old buddy Ron Flatter. And J-Rod agrees with Grissom, agrees with me. He says 100% agree. Gill is right on that about the cultural thing. You have a story, sir. Bill Krackomberger, everybody, with Fezzik. What was that?
No, before I came in today, we were talking about the mechanical parlay for futures, doing the money line parlay. And, you know, when you're betting on underdogs, he like Notre Dame, he pointed out, it's okay to do that. It actually works out much better for underdogs than favorites. Like, literally, if you were to do it on Notre Dame, you would have got back 18-1 compared to about 10-1
on a money line
parlay. However, when you're betting on a favorite, it doesn't always work sometimes. Like we actually made a bet. He actually said to me, "Hey, there's a really good bet if you're around Westgate because first the apps always take a little bit less, but at the counter, so me being I went to the counter to try to bet this, figured they're not going to take as much as they did, and they took it minus $1.10 on Ohio State, which now looks really good. But I gave them a big amount of money. I figured they're going to deny it and give me half of it. No, they gave me the whole bet. So Ohio State, right before the semifinals, Ohio State was minus $1.10. It was minus $1.20 at most places, $1.30, but they had $1.10 there to win it all, and now it turns out to be insanely good value now because it was because they're the money line versus Texas and now Notre Dame. So if you play through the mechanical parlay, certain situations don't always think it works. Like what UConn in college basketball, it doesn't work.
I just want to be clear. Yeah. When you say mechanical parlay, you're talking about
rollover money line parlay on the underdog works out most of the time, but be careful on the favorites. Fez is right. Yeah. He was saying that.
It's not always better.
People want to talk about that now because they hear from someone else and they want to talk about that now. Meanwhile, guys like myself and Fez have been doing that for years. Yeah. So, but it doesn't just always work out on the favorite.
I'm glad you bring that up because it has become a bit of a cottage industry in sports betting where it sounds smart to always say, wouldn't it just be better money line parlaying those on a rollover? I was like, well, not always.
Not on the NFL this year either, by the way. The NFL before, there wasn't one giant favorite which made it, just when people say that and people hear that and they think, oh yeah, I'll do that. That's what they say on the show. Like, sometimes you just got to be careful with the favorites is what Fez says. Listen.
Fezzik on the show tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, is he? I'm surprised they didn't save this for tomorrow. I hope I didn't ruin it for you, Fez. Yeah.
No, every Friday. What are we going to go to
No, I didn't know if it was every single Friday. I would actually come over and meet him after the show. And we go to breakfast somewhere or another. Amazingly, though, I'll tell you what, Fez every single time will not let the K-Man pay. He pays.
Hey, and it is tough to not let you pay. I like the K-Man you call yourself. I like that. The K-Man.
Isn't that what Kramer said this time?
The K-Man. You are a very difficult person to override and pay. I almost have to physically remove you if I'm going to pay.
It's something that, not to be a big shot, but it's something maybe it's an internal thing where to show to myself or something. I read there was a great article, I'll have to find again, in the New York Times. Pat Jordan wrote the article. I remember him because he had to change his name. As an Italian guy, he's like Pasquale, and whatever, Jordanelli, and he had to change his name to write articles when he first started writing them. He wrote a great article. It was Finding My Father, or I Want to Find My Father in Las Vegas. He interviewed 4 or 5 people, and one of the people was Eric. Boy, I can't think of Eric's last name now. Eric was a great poker room manager here, and Eric, they interviewed his wife, and Eric was a successful person, made a lot of money. Steve Wynn handpicked him to run this poker room, and that's the reason why he said he just always was. He had no money when he was younger, to show that he's successful internally, not that it could be something internal.
That's really interesting self-analysis that you have there. Then it's to show you. It's to prove
to show
to
me.
yourself.
It's not to show you. And but my father, even though my father didn't have any money, and I shouldn't say that, my father actually made 6 figures the last 10 years when he was alive, but he spent everything like me. We don't come from a financial background. We don't, but my father always would pay for dinner for everybody. Mm-hmm. Maybe I just remember him paying for dinner, or else he wouldn't go. So, it could be that. Last thing,
it's a wonderful quality.
It is. I just want the last minute here. Don't be fooled by gambling influencers. I'm seeing this too many times, showing wads of cash, beautiful girls, cars, all around them. They all have something to sell. Now, is the gambling public this stupid that a slot guy claims there's hot machines? He charges you, $2,000 to show you where hot machines are. And by the way, he's sold out. You can't even get in to see him for a month. I know who the guy is. So everyone has something to sell. Now there's the biggest guy. I'm not going to give him any press. People know who he is. He claims he beat he claims he beat Baccarat for millions of dollars. And he claims the security followed him out. He won so much money, security followed him out at the casino and was told to rob the money back. This is crazy. So, and this guy has millions of followers too. Like, they just say this stuff to keep you listening for the buzzwords and stuff. This person is all over YouTube trying to sell that he's the greatest Baccarat system guy and he has killed casinos and they all hate him and they throw him out. But yet he gets so many followers because people love to see. And you're selling the system? Oh, I don't want to buy this.
I don't want to use the word stupid like you did, but are people easily influenced? Absolutely. Look at that. The Showtime docuseries Action. We brought this up many times before. the showrunners were convinced, well, obviously they'll see the charlatan on that docuseries for what he was. And in the end, most people were like, yeah, but he's got that place in Cabo.
Car.
He's got that place in Cabo. Yeah. People are easily influenced.
Thanks for watching, but don't let the betting insights end here. If you want an extra edge this football season, you can get a month of VSiN Pro right now absolutely free. That means access to our betting insights, analysis, and tools like our betting splits at zero cost to you. Click the link in the description to sign up.